as much as it pains for me to say this, as much as I actually like the game, Halo Infinite has been kind of a disaster for 343. And it's losing people constantly because of how they're drip feeding their content. I think their newest pass is 6 months long again. So that's another 6 months of just having one pass and not enough content. And the reason why we mentioned this, because this is not new news at all. Everyone knows this at this point. It looks as if 343 is now going to implement microtransactions on one game that hadn't had microtransactions that has been out for years now. And that's the Master Chief Collection. Was it announced or was it a rumor? I think it was a rumor that they are going to implement a currency that you can grind in the Master Chief Collection in order to get different types of skins and cosmetics. What did you think about the announcement about them doing this, and about them doing this specifically on, or that they're exploring microtransactions on the Master Chief Collection?
For me, it just sort of had me scratching my head, but at the same time, the other part of my mind was thinking about it, going, actually, I can see why they're tempted on doing this, because the Master Chief Collection seems to have a consistent population as far as the multiplayer matches go.
That's right.
So likely, so the pragmatic business side of me was just like, oh, I know why they're doing this. It's because just they were hoping everyone would jump on Infinite and just start buying up everything in the cash shop, buying up credits for the battle passes and whatever all else that they were going to have as money sinks. And unfortunately, just with all the managerial screw ups with the handling of Infinite and the multiplayer stuff just being so bad that they just didn't have the dream payout that they were hoping for. So now they're having to go, hey, well, what's an idea that we can do to, consistently generate cash flow? And I'm guessing somebody had a bright idea and said, well, the Master Chief Collection seems to get a consistent player count. Why not? Maybe we should consider something that lets us build out a framework that we can sell microtransactions for, do battle pass seasons, just something so we can try to profit where we were supposed to profit with Halo Infinite.
This really smells of desperation, really. It really just shows that they didn't have a consistent plan for this. I don't know who decided to break Halo Infinite apart into free-to-play multiplayer and a single-player campaign, but clearly they just did not have the right framework in mind when they did this. And the fact that, and look, some are going to defend them by giving them 6 months to do the battle pass by just because they don't want to constantly grind and constantly crunch their staff to get new content out. And I understand that. However, by doing that, you still need to have enough content to keep people in there if you're going to make it free to play. So I definitely understand not wanting to grind your employees to dust, but you still need to have a good plan to keep people engaged. Because as cool as it is that you don't want to grind and crunch them to death, gamers are not going to care. You can say that all you want, and they'll be like, oh yeah, that's cool, and they'll go to a different game. They'll just play something else. But they'll clap and celebrate you for a few seconds, saying, oh, it's cool that you're doing that for your employees. But you're going to then end up having to let go of those employees because it's not making sales. So they have to have a more consistent, they have to be more consistent on their battle passes and getting new stuff out on the game. They just have to. And the fact that they've also been breaking apart their releases of like Forge and Co-op and stuff like that also just shows that they just really had bad management in this entire time for this game. And the game is good. It plays great. It's fun, but yeah, even I got bored with it after a while of grinding the pass. So in the end, like, I think when Lost Ark came out, I just stopped cold turkey and haven't looked back. And there has been nothing for me to say, oh yeah, that looks interesting. I want to go back and play that. Like, I think they announced one new mode and one map for the next 6 months. What is that? That's not enough. So you've got, I don't know. I don't know if you need to hire up more people or you have to get a better process down, but you need to update this much more than what you're doing right now. And yeah, it's like the only thing that it's updated constantly is the shop, essentially. So yeah, like they bungled this big time, and the fact that they're going to Master Chief Collection to say, well, we have enough people who have that, let's just stick microtransactions in there. That's going to be a very unpopular move. That's going to piss people off. So I think that's the wrong move. I just think you should just take the resources you have and just devote it to Halo Infinite and get content out faster on that, because that's what you desperately need. Just by then siphoning off people to go back to Master Chief Collection to put microtransactions there is not going to help you with Halo Infinite. Because apparently Halo Infinite is supposed to be the thing that's supposed to cover 343 for the time being. And if they don't cover themselves, I wouldn't be surprised in 5 years if they're not around anymore. And Halo goes to Activision, essentially, to make a Halo game. So, yeah, well, they gotta do something.
Yeah, and I think really for me, just the mismanagement of Halo Infinite it's just been bad. I know I expressed this on my Discord server personally, but the shop just has constantly rotating items because they're preying on people with the FOMO to basically go, hey, I gotta drop everything and buy this one thing, and they really don't have any sort of evergreen cosmetic items. And there's one cosmetic that I feel that they should just make evergreen at this point, because just when it initially was sold back in December of last year, the internet went completely mad over it. Mm-hmm. Mostly because it was the most cutest thing ever, and just there was so much fun and meme potential in it. And that was the cat ear armor set, which gave you cat ears, a helmet that had like cat ears on it, I believe a piece of chest plate armor, and then a special color that went with this whole armor set. And every time that it's gone on sale, I've missed it. And It's just one of those things that, in my opinion, you want more sales for Halo Infinite. I know one quick way that you easily get people to buy stuff from the cash shop. Make the cat ear armor set an evergreen item, and say something like, half the proceeds of the sale of this cat armor go to a national no-kill shelter organization.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Boom, easy. Just easy cash.
And yeah, there are some fans who are like, well, that's not integral to the story of Halo, and it just cheapens it. No one cares, okay? No one cares. Because people, when they saw the samurai armor, were like, that's fucking awesome. That's cool. I want that.
Yep. And the samurai armor is another cool piece of armor that I could see being like an evergreen thing.
Yeah. So, like, You should have more creative armor. Like you should have more creative stuff that people can deck themselves out with and make it interesting looking. That's the point of having a free to play service, is so people can express themselves in all sorts of armor that they'll purchase. Perfect. There you go. But they're not doing it. They just say, yeah, we have 6 months planned and we'll cycle off the same things for the next month or so. Yeah, okay, great. That's going to get people excited. Sure. Okay. But they honestly, they need to cut their passes in half at the very least. I'd say in thirds. I think 3 months. I think 3 months is too long for a battle pass. But I don't know how long Fortnite's is. I think Fortnite's is usually 2 months, right? Do we know, or are we both?
I don't play Fortnite.
Okay,
so
neither do I. So yeah, all right, never mind. But I doubt that they do it for 6 months. I'm betting it's like maybe a month or two, maybe 3, depending. So they need to get the reins in on this, and their next season has to blow people's minds in order to get people back. Because if it doesn't, it's going to be too late for this to move up. So they need to do something in order to save this, because they're now at a point now where I think did I see it on Twitter that Master Chief Collection has about 7,000 concurrently, and Infinite has like 2,000 concurrently right now. Like that's awful. That's really bad. So yeah. They need to do something, and it's drastic that they have to do. So even if that means hiring more people or whatever, but do something, because what you're doing isn't working. So yeah, anything to add?
No, just I just feel that there's just some gross mismanagement of the game, which is a damn shame for Infinite. That is mostly because just I think with better management, Infinite can be great. Right. Infinite can be fun.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But clearly, just there's some sort of management issue, and because there's a management issue, it just trickles down and just causes just this effect where just no one wants to care about this game, even if it is fun, even if it is good.
Yeah.
Just no one wants to care about it, mostly because of the fact that just it's not in a great place, and it's really a shame.
The nature of free to play is that the game being fun is not enough. You also have to give them reasons to keep playing. And if people can grind out a pass within a month of a 6-month pass and get all the stuff that's on there, you have a huge problem, because then that's 5 months where no one's playing. That those specific people are not playing. Like I'll for example, I play MLB The Show. I think if people who've listened to this for God knows how long know that by now. But they constantly refresh updates. They constantly have battle passes that are free, number one. And number two, they have them for like 3 weeks, 2 weeks, a week. And they keep refreshing content. They keep adding new missions, new cards, new players, new cosmetics, things like that you can earn. Like, they constantly update the game. And that's enough, especially for me, to say, okay, I'll keep playing the game as long as you keep giving me all this free stuff and these updates. So, yeah, cool, I'm good. And that's all they need to do. But they're not doing it. So, someone needs to really take a look at everything and look at the business plan and model and just say, this needs to change, it needs to change now. And if it doesn't, I mean, zero. If Halo Infinite was a big deal, if it was popular and people loved it, this could have single-handedly helped Xbox Series X. And just been like, oh, well, Halo Infinite's there and everyone's playing that, so it's kind of okay it has no games, because I have Halo Infinite. Like, that could have saved them a lot of grief. But because it didn't turn out very well, they're kind of screwed at this point. So
Yep.
yeah,
Especially since it just seemed like everything was riding on this, because I think Halo Infinite was supposed to be like a 10-year plan sort of game,
yeah,
and the fact that it's just not doing well, it's just like, that's not a good sign.
no,
That's a terrible sign of things, especially uh, if you guys were planning to stretch this thing out for 10 years. You guys don't really have a great plan right now, because it's kind of in shambles right now.
yeah. So I don't know. Do you have any other ideas of how they can improve this, or are they just screwed at this point?
At this point, I would say they need to back off their idea of just going back to Halo Master Chief Collection,
Yeah, that's
and redouble their efforts on Infinite. And I think one of the things that I've read is just they don't seem to want to listen to the player community
oh God,
about what the player community thinks is wrong, and that's just bad. I
yeah,
mean, in I should be one to talk. I used to have an abusive relationship with Destiny 2, with
mm,
just the constant cycle, and it's sad. It's a little bit sad too, because of course the joke has always been, and that what's it called, when when you play Destiny 2, there's always a cycle. There's the everything is good period, where just everything is good, everything works fine, um, everything seems fair, and then you have the update that happens that changes everything. And
yeah,
then when that update happens, things get broken, weapons get nerfed, some get unfairly buffed. Things like Crucible and Trials of the Nine are completely screwed up. Just it ends up being a real painful experience. So that leads to the player community griping and saying, telling Bungie, "Hey, why did you do these things? It's not fun to do the things that you did."
yeah,
And then, of course, um, Bungie sort of dismisses it and uses the excuse of gosh, what's it called? Oh, you're playing the game wrong. Um, you guys aren't playing the game properly, so that's why the game is not fun. And then it leads into the coping cycle with the player community going, "Oh God, it's all lost. Bungie no longer wants to listen to us. They hate us. They'd rather us go choke and die. There's no hope, but we'll try to protest in vain in hopes that, oh, maybe Bungie will listen to us." And then finally, a Bungie then makes another update with an admission of, "Hey, we might have screwed up. We might have done some things that the player community absolutely reviled or detested, but um, we apologize and we love your forgiveness. So can you all find it in your heart to forgive us?"
yeah,
And then just the cycle starts over again. So just they if they can actually do better and listen to the player community, then they won't have a situation like Destiny, where just it's just a terrible and endless cycle of pain, suffering, and agony.
yeah. Now, Destiny 2, if I recall correctly, well, this is when I was playing it. They have a 3-month battle pass, right? It's a 3 months, right? Am I right on that, or am I off?
No, that was correct. When they were doing the battle passes, it was always around 3 months.
Okay. Oh, they're not doing the battle passes anymore.
I think they are. Just I haven't kept up if it's still a three
Yeah.
month thing, or if it's a, hey, we're doing it for 6.
I mean,
So no idea.
I mean, it's funny. Destiny 2 might be the thing they should look at and say, "Yet do this." Like do except for the whole take away the game, take away the content that I paid for, please. Don't do that, but do what they're doing. They seem to get it. So yeah. I mean, they're in some trouble, and they need to fix things. So we'll see whether we'll see whether they decide to put microtransactions in Master Chief Collection, which the smart thing would be no, don't do that. But
Yeah.